prepare yourself for a lot of insight, amazing conversation, deep conversation, exploration on such great business topics with my guest, Janel Dickin, which I am like, oh my gosh, this episode. Okay, we talk about chronic guilt, and we spend some time here in that phrase, chronic guilt. There's something to that. I'm not going to say anymore because we spend some quality time on it in this episode, but I can't wait for you to listen to it. And please, will you DM me or email me if you experience this too? Because I want to know and I want to hear from you. Janel and I talk about some really cool ways to have boundaries when it comes to your business. This can also work personally. She talks about her fake employee. It's a very interesting idea. Some email hacks to save you some of that guilt and to set some boundaries. I just love this conversation. Janel, I talk about this on the episode, but she was one of the people who really believed in me in this show. And her energy, like, just wait. Oh, and there is a story that we talk about at the very end of the episode. Like, listen to this whole episode because there's just like constant advice and tips and exploration. Like, it's such a good conversation. But at the end, I share a really funny story about me and Janel that about a very like exciting, one of the most exciting things happened to me. And Janel was the first person that I saw right after this happened to me. So I was like telling her about it and celebrating, but she heard me wrong and thought I was celebrating something else. So just listen to the whole episode so you can hear it. But it shows you how great Janel is because she was still celebrating me in thinking that something happened that was different than what actually did. And she's such a believer in people. She's a supporter. She is your cheerleader. Her energy is just amazing. I love this woman. She has so much to share and give. Janel used to be a retailer and she was a client of ours at Crystal Media. We talk about it on the episode, but now she consults retailers and she's doing some really amazing stuff. She talks about an experience with a retailer on the episode, pretty cool, of what she helped this retailer achieve. Her business is Authentic Consulting Group. You're going to want to check her out. I mean, that's such a beautiful name. Perfect for her. She is so authentic. She is so real. And that's exactly what you're getting from this episode. So let's dive in. Are you ready to open up and talk about all things business? I'm Crystal Vilkaitis, a curious entrepreneur who loves talking about business, especially over a glass of wine. I started Crystal Uncorked to share open and honest conversations about my journey and talk to other entrepreneurs about their experiences. We pull back the curtain and talk about the highs and the lows. Wine isn't required, but is recommended. This is Crystal Uncorked. Janel, welcome to Crystal Uncorked.
Thank you so much, Crystal. I'm super excited to be here. So excited to hang out with you.
Oh my gosh. I am so excited. And before we get to our drinks and the questions, I just have to call out the fact that you were somebody who was like, girl, do the podcast. I told you I have this idea back in September of 2019 at a Management One conference in Tucson. We sat together at dinner and I'm like, I have this idea. I want to do this podcast. And you were just like,
just do it.
Oh, you pushed me to do it. Yeah.
I am just, that is like so heartwarming to hear that, Crystal, because number one, I did not try very hard. You know, I didn't like take you and, give you a pat on the back or anything. I was like, yeah, just go for it. And then like took another bite of supper. It's so amazing. I'm so proud of you. And oh my gosh, thank you so much for that shout out, which is totally unnecessary / quite undeserving. But it's amazing how the tiniest little bit of encouragement, here we are.
Well, and seriously, Janel, you I felt, because you were a client of ours at Crystal Media. Mm-hmm. And so you had experience with me and my team, and you just had this solid belief in me. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like she believes in me. Mm-hmm. And I went back to my room, just felt really that support, and I needed that support. So you really helped more than you know.
That's so beautiful, Crystal. Well, thank you so much for that shout out. That is so, that's like totally aligns with who I am and what I do. So just, yes, I'm so happy that, some tiny little thing that I said along the way helped you to, oh my gosh, like honestly, fulfill a dream.
I know, exactly, which is so cool. And with this podcast, there was always, I said, I want to open it honest conversations over wine. And so
I remember I love wine and I love business. Yep. Do it.
Just do it. So what are you drinking? I know you're not drinking wine, but you do have a drink.
Which is uncharacteristic of me. So it's now summer, and in summer, I really enjoy gin. So I have purchased this special gin. This is an Empress gin. It's Empress 1908. It's a Canadian gin because I am from Canada. This is actually made in Victoria, BC. And it's funny because I actually went on their website before this and thought I would do a bunch of research and learn about it. But all I still know is it's from Victoria. And there's something about it was inspired by, I don't know, some, an historic hotel or something like that. But what happened, Crystal, is then I got, took a sip of the gin. So I got sidetracked.
Right. And then the research stopped.
But the physical experimentation did not. Like, how cool is that?
Ooh, beautiful.
Gin. I just love it. And it's delicious. So there we go. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. I love it. Okay. And if anybody's listening to this podcast, I feel like you should go watch it on YouTube or on Crystal Uncorked because for two reasons. One, Janel's drink is gorgeous. And two, her dress is gorgeous. She straight up put on a sequins dress for the show.
Yes. 100% I did. Because the only other thing I would be doing tonight is working in my office or watching an Oilers hockey game, playoff game.
See?
So
and is that not what you wear when you watch a hockey game?
Well, it's definitely what I wear.
Yes.
Why would you not, right?
Right, exactly.
I
love it. Well, I have my typical wine. I have wine. From Burtech, which is one of my favorites. I just love Burtech. They're out of California. I'm a member. I've had Dominic Burtech on the show. They just have excellent wine. So Janel, cheers. I'm so happy you're here.
Oh, thank you so much. I am just beyond delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, of course. So let's dive in. Let's start with just sharing a little bit about how you got started as a retail coach.
Yeah. Well, I started as a client. That's how. So I work as a retail business coach predominantly with Management One. I help independent retailers to operate their businesses more profitably and efficiently through merchandise planning. And so the reason I got into this is because I was a retailer as well. I had a brick and mortar store, which is, as you mentioned, I was also a Crystal Media client, which is super cool. And it was 2012. I'm coming up on 10 years, just like Crystal Media, if I may.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Amazing. I started as a client, and this merchandise planning, honestly, it saved my business. If I had not, I certainly would not be where I am. I don't know that my business would have existed as long as it did when I chose to, wind things down. It was a choice and not something that was forced. So I started as a client, and I believe so strongly in what Management One offers. And I was completely inspired by, my business coaches and, even that little bit that you said earlier about just that tiny little sentence that I said, just go do it. That is what fuels my soul, is helping people and inspiring people. And I feel like I don't even really try to inspire people. I just try to bring them up. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. But it's amazing how, the tiniest little encouragement can completely and totally change someone's path. I know that I've had that experience, right? Where it's just like having someone say, "I'm so proud of you," is just like mind blowing.
Totally.
So
you have to have that support.
Absolutely, you do. And as entrepreneurs, just to have that, like, there's so many uncertainties, and there's so many times that you question yourself. Am I doing this right? Should I be doing this? What the heck am I doing? Are the sacrifices worth it? Et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And so just having anyone, especially someone who understands where you've been, having them say, "You know what, I believe in you," is just life-changing. So I wanted to be that person. So I partnered with our pal, Dan Holman with Canadian Retail Solutions. Dan, a special shout out to him. Great guy. And I started with a retail business coach with them. And then there was some restructuring and we went out on our own. And now I work independently. But like I said, predominantly what I do is work with retailers with Management One. And it has been unbelievable. I absolutely love what I do. I've never been in a role, Crystal, where I felt so valued and so respected. And the most beautiful things that I get so much joy from are when my clients share with me, their wins. Like last Wednesday night, I had a client text me, "Oh my gosh, we just won this business award." So here I am, 2 Empress Gins in. At that point, I phoned her and we had a half-hour conversation about, how amazing this opportunity is and everything that she's overcome, and how, legitimately how proud I am of her and how grateful I am to, partner with her, and just the stories that people have. And, oh my goodness, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So
it's unbelievable. And I'm so incredibly happy for you. Was there any element of was it hard for you to transition into being a retailer and now a retail coach and kind of winding down the retail store? Or did it feel really natural? What was that like for you?
Good question. For me, it was totally natural. Here's the thing with my personality, Crystal, is I tend to do things too long, right? Like when I know that it should be the end, I just continue doing it anyway. Because I don't know if that's just a cautious element to my personality where I can't let go, or if I always have to have something else to fall back on. I don't know. But for me, I knew it was time. And it was I almost had disdain for my existing business, right? And it was beyond time to move on. So for me, it was not difficult,
Pretty easy. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. For sure it was. Yeah. Good question.
Yeah. Well, and I'd like to just point out that before we hit record, you said that you fucking love what you do. You edited yourself a little bit here. We're a Crystal and Corked. I mean,
we're uncorked here.
Yeah,
I fucking love it.
Right.
I fucking love it. It's insane. Yeah. It's just such an unbelievable fit for me. Here's the other thing is the lifestyle. I've listened to, a number, shockingly, of CU podcasts. I know. And a big part of the focus in a lot of the ones that really hit home for me were the ones who talk about, your business can't run your life.
Yep.
My retail store ran my life, right? Yeah. The sacrifices that I made for that store, my family made for that store, it was just, I don't think it had to be that way. I just think that I had it the way that it was set up by me, right. Right? But this role that I'm in now is just, it affords me the freedom and flexibility that this is the life that I want. Yeah. I want to be able to, hop on a podcast with my pal in Colorado in my sequin dress and, just record a podcast while having a couple of drinks, it's
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Well, and to your point, it doesn't have to be that way. That's why it's beautiful that there are retail coaches like you that help on so many different levels within the retail store, because we don't know what we don't know. And when you're so in the business, it's really hard to take that step back and be what do I need? How can I have more freedom? And that's probably very fulfilling to you to be able to provide that for your retailers, because you didn't have that 100%. As a retailer.
That's, and that's a really good point, is it's almost don't do what I did. Hey, this is how to avoid burnout. And I have clients every so often that will email me. They're like, "I'm really sorry, but my daughter's sick. Can we move our meeting?" Yes.
Right.
We're moving your meeting. Or, I got invited to, my brother's, concert or something like that. My brother plays in a band. Oh my God, yes, please go. We'll meet another day. Don't even worry about it. Oh my gosh. Do you know Scott Smith with Management One? Oh, he's one of my mentors. He used to work with CRS. Anyway, he and I got into a big long chat during our last AGM in Tucson. And I told him that my catchphrase is, "Don't even worry about it." And he's like, it's the even that makes it more powerful.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
You need a shirt. Don't even worry about it.
I know. I thought about getting abbreviations, DEWAB, DWAB, but I feel
I don't know about that.
I don't know about that one for sure, but I think a shirt would be appropriate. Don't even worry about it.
Don't even worry about it.
Don't even. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I
That's gonna
kind
be
of
the
have a
title of
guess for my answer or for my question I'm going to ask you, but I want to hear from you. What is your zone of genius? The thing that you are really good at and love doing?
Not golf. I'll tell you that much right now. Zone of genius. You know, I guess my zone is a sort of broad because, you know, you alluded to it earlier where I was a retailer. And so I know retail. I know retail inside out. And I friggin' love business. I friggin' love retail. And I fucking love helping people. I love, love, love. There's nothing more satisfying than, to me, than, you know, lending a hand or making something easier for someone. You know, so I don't know. Is that a ridiculous zone of genius?
No, not at all. Well, you know what my answer was for you based off of our conversation so far is believing in people. You did that for me. And there was a previous episode on Crystal Uncorked with Stacey Murphy, and she said that was hers. And I was like, there are people in this world that have that ability. It really is a unique ability to just really, truly believe in people and help them. And when you have that belief, you want to help because you believe in them. You know that their success is inevitable.
Oh, man. Absolutely. Well, you know what? That's a really good point, too. And it's like people, you know, like we question ourselves. You know, we already talked about that, too. But it's just like, oh, you have no idea what magic is out there. You have no idea. Don't even worry about it. I can't.
Don't even worry about it.
That's going to be the title of the episode. Don't even worry about it. And it has to be spoken in such a relaxed way, too.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like italicized. I think that totally should be the name of the episode. I feel like you could like launch your own podcast called Don't Even Worry About It.
Oh, things to not worry about. It would just be like lists that I've written. Things to not worry about.
Number Here's one. Your weekly what not to worry about.
Things to not worry about this week.
Yeah. Oh my God. How funny. I love it. What is I talk a lot about made it moments on the show, you probably know, and I love, like, these could be big or small. Sometimes the smallest thing is like, oh my gosh, I knew I was onto something there.
Yeah.
What is one of your made it moments?
Man, with respect to business coaching, I think one of the first ones was years ago. One of my first clients, we'd been working together for just a few months. And when we first started working together with merchandise planning, she had a store full of inventory, a back room full of inventory, a basement full of inventory, a garage full of inventory. And they had actually rented a big old storage unit full of inventory. And I told her, listen, I know that this is the craziest idea. And I know, like, she had amazing stuff, right? But you cannot... when you're a retailer, you can't worry about what you paid for something. When you're overwhelmed with inventory, you just have to get it out for the most. My dog is now joining us.
I love just opens the door on its own.
She just barged right in. So sorry, everyone.
Amazing. No, come on in.
I know. Come on, welcome. And it's really funny because I actually took her out for a small walk in this dress.
Yes, Janel. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's too funny. So made it moments. Yeah. So she had all of this inventory. And when you are a retailer, you can't be attached to the inventory. You can't worry about, oh, this is how much I paid for it. This is what it's worth. No, what you have to do is ask yourself, what is the most someone will possibly pay for this? And that's what you charge for it. And so she had these amazing, like European boots that retail would be like $400. And I told her, you know, I know this is insane, but because we're Crystal Uncorked here, we can talk freely about this, but I told her, I'm like, you got to get out the Vaseline. You got to bend over and you just have to mark them down to whatever you need to mark them down to. She was like, not believing. She's like, this is insane. I'm like, I know, it's totally crazy. But here's the thing. We can't make payroll right now. So if I were to say to you, hey, we could get $2,000 for 10 pairs of boots, you know, or 100 pairs of boots, as the case may be, would you take that? And she's like, well, then I wouldn't have to pay for rent on my storage unit as well. And I'm like, see where we're going.
Yep.
So she actually texted me at one point she had this massive blowout sale, right? This inventory, which is, I always call it the inventory correction period, because with new clients, it's pretty much typical. You don't know how much inventory you have to have or you're supposed to have. You also don't know what category you're supposed to have it in. So, oh my gosh, that's not a mistake. That's just where we all start. So she was in her inventory correction period and she had this massive blowout. She was texting me. Firstly, the text was, oh my gosh, the trailer's empty. Then it was, oh my gosh, I made payroll. Then it was, oh my gosh, the girls from the dental clinic next door are taking turns taking their lunch break so that they can come in and buy, from our sale. And then a little while later, right before market, it was, oh my gosh, our credit card is paid off for the first time in 2 years.
Oh,
I literally have
chills.
goosebumps right now.
Yes.
Really, isn't that
Chills.
amazing? Amazing. Because
That's amazing.
I am in that situation where it's like, how am I going to pay payroll? How am I going to pay my vendors? How am I going to pay rent? Right. And just like, you had alluded to, like, you just get so your head in the sand where you have to take your head out of the sand and actually look around every so often. Right.
Yep.
So that was one of my made it moments, is when one of the first times that one of my clients really shared with me the impact that I'm helping her make, guiding.
That is so good.
Oh, it's just unbelievable. And I just thrive on that. I just love it. And I love my clients. I love my colleagues. I love doing things like this with wonderful people like you. It's just awesome.
It's just so awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing that. That is so good. Now, if you were to do it all over again, and you can either answer this with retail coaching business or as a retailer, whatever way you want to go. But if you were to do it all over again, like tomorrow, you're going to start. What is the one thing that you would do differently?
Hire experts. Invest in experts. That's a pretty cut and dry answer, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Confidently. Yeah. I can't. Here's the thing. My sister and I, it's just the two of us in the family. We were raised by amazing parents who gave us skill set to do anything, the confidence to learn anything, and to figure stuff out, which is amazing. But just because you can do something doesn't mean you should or that you need to.
Right.
Yeah. So, I would have, my journey would have been a lot easier if I had done, like I said, invested in quality experts sooner, like Crystal Media, frankly.
Yeah.
How do you like that? That's good.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
It's truly honest. It really is. Yeah.
It is. It's who, not how, right? Like we say that so much because there is a retailer or any kind of business owner. There are so many things that need your attention or somebody's attention.
Yeah, somebody's
and
attention.
if you're
Absolutely.
like, are you really going to become a expert in everything? No.
And you're going to burn out and you're going to hate it and you're going to fail because you're not good at everything. Like I started with, like golf, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I did all of like the construction repairs and things like that. And I mean, admittedly, I saved 10 or 20 grand, but it's like, but if I hadn't been doing that, if I had been, working on the business rather than in the business, how different would things have looked? Right?
Exactly.
If I had, rather than doing, all the sales training myself, if I had invested in, Whiz Bang Retail Sales Academy before I did, how different would my story look?
Totally.
How my journey have been. So that's the kind of stuff that I get to share with my clients all the time. And I'm like, ultimately, make the decision that's right for you. But let me tell you my story here.
Exactly. I love it. And I just want to do a call out because you just mentioned Bob Nagin with Whiz Bang Training. Like they've got such great training. He's been on the show. We'll link to an episode or search just Crystal Uncorked Bob Nagin. But there are, it's pretty amazing just the experts that are available and the niche that with retailers. And again, not all retailers watch the show. We have other types of businesses too. But I have to imagine that even if you Googled like whatever specialty or thing you need and your industry, and it doesn't always have to be that niche, but there can be some benefits in that because then people can really understand your business and point you to other types of coaches and people that can help support you.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I had no idea that what I do is a job. Before 10 years ago, I had no idea that this kind of a role exists. And I think that for like most, like, because when I went to university too, it was like, most of the jobs that you go to university for, once you're out of university or college or what have you, you're like, oh, I'll do blah, blah, blah. But, you didn't even know it existed at one point. But ask around. Yeah. And, that's another thing is like, there's never a dumb question or something like that. Ever. And that's just like you said, you don't know what you don't know. So just ask. Don't
Just
even worry
ask.
about it. Don't even worry about it. Just ask.
Yep. Don't even worry about it. I
Right.
love it. See, there it comes again.
Huh?
Okay. I have to know, you mentioned burnout just now. It's a real thing. It
100%.
happens to us entrepreneurs, and you're go, go, go. And as a business owner, you're always on, like you're always thinking
Oh,
about stuff and you're always doing stuff. So, but you have to recharge. So what do you do to recharge your batteries?
yeah, good question. And the other thing with entrepreneurs is I loved this phrase I once heard from one of my mentors, chronic guilt. Not constant guilt, chronic guilt. Isn't there a mind difference? Right? You chronically
yeah.
have the guilt. If you're not at the store, you're feeling guilty because you should be at the store. If you're at home spending time with your family, you feel guilty because you're not at the store. If you're at the store, you feel the chronic guilt because you're torn in a million different directions, and you should be, you feel like you should be working with your family. If you're on vacation, anyway, it never ends. It's chronic, right? So it's just a matter of boundaries are a big deal. But for me personally, it can be anything from literally taking an hour off early and taking the dog to the dog park, to going for a pedicure, to even walking and listening to business podcasts. A lot of, coaches and things like that talk about schedule time in your day to like learn or read or recharge. That is so brilliant. So brilliant.
Yep.
So for me, I obviously love tropical vacations. Who wouldn't? Had the best time with my sister. Shout out to my sister and my amazing 16-year-old niece. Like, how cool is that my 16-year-old niece was like, let's go to Mexico with mom and auntie.
Oh,
person, right? It was amazing.
Love it.
So that was super fun. Thank you. But just like every single time I took time away from the business, I would honestly come back with an epiphany and a brand new idea and so much energy to work.
Yep.
And it can be, like I said, it can be as little as an hour off if that's all your business allows. Take a month if you can,
Right.
Any time away where you literally shut your mind off. Oh, hot tip that I've recently discovered. Well, okay, so nothing is more liberating than an out of office reply on emails. But something else that's super great, something else that's super liberating is the send later feature on emails.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, where you compose your email and you go to send, but don't click send, click the little down arrow beside send and click that send later. I cannot, you guys, if you are using the send later feature as a result of this podcast, please comment. Please tell us. I want to know how many people are now going, like, your life has been changed by the send later feature in your email program.
Oh my gosh. You know what's so funny is that I just recently started using that in Gmail specifically, but I'm sure other, email service providers have ways to do this. You should look into it. But like, I wanted to send something and I knew the person I was sending it to could not. It was a Friday. I knew that they can't respond till Monday, maybe Tuesday. I didn't want like the weekend emails to get in the way of stuff. So, but I wanted to get it done and out of off of my to-do list.
Yes.
So I just wrote the email. I did send later, put it for Monday morning, and then it was like, oh, and it's done. So that's just like an example of where you might use this. But yeah, that's a great tool.
Do you know when else I use it? Is I love that your answer was so selfless and about the other person. I love that. That's just speaks volumes. Mine is completely selfish. I do not necessarily want my clients knowing that I'm working on their stuff all weekend. If it's 11 p.m. on a Saturday, I don't want to set that expectation that they can get an answer from me at 11 p.m. on a Saturday, because they can't. I have office hours.
That is such a good point. I didn't think about that at all, because it goes back to the boundaries, right? And setting those expectations. The second that somebody sees that you're up late or up really early or on a weekend, they're like, boom, then they're on my schedule and I'm expecting that response. It doesn't matter when, if it's weekend, if it's night, I don't care. Really? So that's brilliant.
Do you know what's funny about that too? Is if I ever were to, a lot of the times I loved working on weekends when I had the store, because it was almost like catch up time, because I knew none of my reps were working. So I would just get, a whole pile of emails done. And if someone actually replied to me on a Saturday, I would honestly, Crystal, I would be a bit disappointed, because I'm like, whoa. I am not prepared to engage in this conversation until next week. This is simply a catch up. So that's the other thing, right? Is yes, it's personal boundaries. And I'm going to be honest, it has taken me about roughly 10 years to get to that point. But that is so valuable. So I guess that's another, it's kind of a piece of what you're talking about with the recharge.
Totally.
Yeah. How do you recharge?
Well, it's kind of like setting yourself up for success, right?
Right.
And like having the right tools and environment in order to recharge and be more efficient.
Exactly.
And what I love that you talked about with recharge is you gave a small thing that we could do today and then also encourage the bigger if you can once you get there the month long.
Yes.
Both are really important,
Absolutely.
like if you can do both, but if you can't do the big month
Oh my gosh.
long,
Do what's the right fit for you.
Yeah, right fit for you. Take the walk if you need to do that every day. Like, find the thing.
You know what? I have a girlfriend who actually, now with hers was with respect to having young children, which by the way, and I don't have kids, but I have a lot of girlfriends that have young families and they say that, being an entrepreneur is very similar to being a mom. And you can attest, you build your business from literally nothing and you never take your eyes off of it. Right.
Yes, exactly.
Similarities there. Anyway, she talks about when her kids were very young, she took a 60-minute bath that saved her marriage. Right.
Wow.
So she's like, I've just beyond had it. I'm going to take a bath. Please, husband, please take care of the children. You guys are going to be good for an hour. And she's like, it saved my marriage. Just that mental break that she needed. And so the same thing with being an entrepreneur, you need that mental break. And if whatever that looks like for you, oh my gosh, do it. And don't feel guilty about it. Don't even worry about it. Right?
Hey, real quick, if you are a small business owner, I would love to see you at Evolve 2023. This is our marketing and business conference put on by Crystal Media. It's happening in Denver, Colorado, April 26th and 27th at the Gaylord Rockies, a gorgeous venue. And we are going to just create a very special, amazing, epic business event for our small businesses. If you want to evolve your marketing, evolve your business, and evolve your life, this is a must-attend event. Go to crystalmediaco.com/evolve. That's crystalmediaco.com/evolve to learn more and to grab your ticket. I hope to see you there. Okay, so let's go back to that for a second. Chronic guilt. I wrote it down. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I struggle with this badly and I talk about it on the show. Like let's say that I am like, I'm just off today, right? There are those days where like it could be the time of month. It could be I just didn't sleep well.
Yes, it could be anything. Honestly,
right?
Okay, so I'm a big believer into hippy dippy shit, and it could be where the moon is, right? The moon.
I was just gonna say that, Janel. Yes.
Amen. Right? Hippy dippy shit.
What's going on with the fucking moon? Why do I feel this way?
I know. The general public is big time impacted, but I will assure you, someone who spent 12 years working intimately in their own store and then many, many years prior to that, the general public is fucking impacted by the moon cycles. Amen. End of story. Oh, and I have a girlfriend that worked in a mental health institution, and she's like, everybody tries to take full moons off. Everyone that works there, because she's like 100%. So anyway,
wow.
Yes, chronic guilt. Back to chronic guilt, please.
Okay, and that's fascinating. I would love actually for there to be like a study or a mini series on Netflix that studies the general public, because retailers so experience, restaurant owners, anybody who's dealing with the general public around the moon cycles. I would be so fascinated to hear those stories.
I don't know very much about that stuff, but I'm like totally obsessed with that shit. And like it's weird because I have 2 degrees in science. So you'd think that now I tell people how to run their retail businesses, right? Totally applicable. But all that hippy dippy stuff, super into that.
I'm super into it. Actually, the recording I just did before this was with a psychic medium. We talked about woo-woo stuff. You're going to love it. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
But that chronic guilt of like, no matter whatever it is, the mood, however, there are times when I'm not my best and I shouldn't be working because I'm going to be delivering kind of shit work and like, it's just not going to be great for anybody involved. Just take the fucking afternoon off or take the break.
Do it. Yeah.
Right?
You know what, Crystal? That's something that I've very recently embraced and I've realized about myself. I am not top notch in the morning. First thing in the morning, right? Like I have clients I am in mountain time. So I'm 2 hours behind a lot of my clients that are in the East Coast. I will not do an 8 o'clock meeting for my Eastern clients because it will be shit.
Right.
Right. And the other reason is I had clients, I've scheduled them before, and then I had clients that didn't show up. And I'm like, I'm fucking sitting here at 6 a.m. I've been up. I did not sleep last night because I was worried sick about missing this meeting.
Right.
So here I am, and now I'm pissed off at you.
Right.
And then you fucking sleep in and I didn't? No. That's unacceptable. So anyway, I simply don't offer that anymore. There's the odd time where I would, if there's, an interesting circumstance or what have you. Well, obviously, like Bob says, you don't make a rule over one circumstance. He says it a lot more eloquently than that. I know myself, and that's not when I operate best. The other thing is I do well, kind of 9 a.m. to about noon. I nosedive around 1, and then I procrastinate, like eating, snacking, right? I'm not hungry.
Oh my God, I love it. Procrastinate. Oh my gosh.
Like all afternoon, generally speaking. And then I get a second wind at about 4 o'clock, and then I can go all night. So I have recently embraced, my own circadian rhythm, for lack of better terminology, like what my body and my mind likes to do. And and it's still, again, there's still chronic guilt. And I mean, don't get me wrong, this isn't every day, right? But this is like, if I don't have meetings planned with clients, if I have a lot more of a flex day, I just know that my productivity level is going to be trash in the afternoon. So I give myself permission to go run errands, grab groceries. I live just blocks from my parents. They are some cool cats to hang out with. I will go and have a whatever with my parents. I'm like, we'll start drinking in the afternoon. There's nothing wrong with that on a Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah. Taco Tuesday. I mean, duh.
Oh, yeah, Taco Tuesday. That's right. And I mean, honestly, I'm very much like, and, visiting that whole parents thing. And this goes to I hope somebody, even if one person hears this and is like, ooh, yeah, you know what? I'm going to change things so that I can do that. My mom and dad, they're not going to be around forever. So I am taking the opportunity right now to let's have fun while we all can. Like I said, I live very near you. They're not they go to friggin' Phoenix all summer, or all winter. So, I mean, from a physical standpoint, but also I'm like, I probably don't have that many more years where I live, mere blocks from mom and dad, and the Beagle and I can just zip over there and hang out for a couple hours in the afternoon, get recharged. That goes back to actually what you were asking earlier about how do you recharge, visiting with them, it is comedy gold over there, Crystal. If dad's not oh my God, I don't even want to say this on air and admit it, but dad's on the back deck shooing away birds with, not shooting at them, he has said, shooting near them, but shooting. I think he has non-injury type implements of some variety. I love that. Yeah. I imagine this part's going to get cut out of the podcast. Hey, fine.
You know what? We're uncorked. I mean, if you want it in, we're going to keep it in. I think that would be hilarious. But here's the thing. Yeah. I heard something that blew my mind. Sarah Blakely, who started Spanx, her husband, Jesse, I don't know. I can't remember his everybody calls him Sarah's husband, right? Like the Spanx lady's husband. Yeah. He has this whole thing about your parents, and he's like, how many more times do you think you'll get to see your parents?
Oh, gross. I don't even want to think about that.
Think about it. Depending on their age, if you live near them or not. So I currently just moved back to Colorado. I'm 9 minutes from my dad, so I get to see him a lot more now. Yeah. It's great. But my mom is in Iowa, and I see her maybe once a year. Well, let's say my mom is 60. She'll be 67
Nobody's
in June.
On this. Don't actually say the real number, just in case you're wrong.
Right. Well, it's just she's 67 and she's going to what if she lived till 80? Yeah. That's, 13 years, and I see her once a year. I see my mom 13 more times.
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking crazy to think about?
It's horrid. I'm in major denial about that. And so it's when we think about it that way, honestly, in a way, it adds to the chronic guilt of, oh God, I now have something else I need to do, right? So it's just fucking do it. Guess what? Even if you leave your fucking store, and this is as a business coach, worst case scenario, you write a handwritten note saying, thanks for your patience. had to leave early today due to a family thing,
Right.
probably be more eloquent than that, but just tape it on your fucking door, turn off the lights, turn the key, pay your fucking fine from your mall if necessary, go home, leave, go. Priorities. Just
Priorities.
Don't
Yeah.
worry about it. That's what you can write on your sign. Don't even worry about it.
Don't even worry about it. I can't be here right now.
Closed early. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, and that's where I feel like too, there's just like putting certain things in place to allow you to have more of that freedom and having your team support and having systems support. And then sometimes there's just things that you can't plan for that you do.
100%.
You just got to put the don't even worry about it sign up and then go. But it is priorities, and that way of thinking puts it into perspective. I wish that you could just turn off. Like, I'm very curious about this whole guilt topic because I hear it from so many people. Like, I was at a networking thing locally, and the woman who runs it has deep guilt about stuff. And I'm just like, man, I do too. We really experience that. There's something there.
I am in a mastermind group, and it's been a couple of years that I've been involved with it, and it's predominantly women entrepreneurs, and it is such an ingrained problem. It's so common, specifically with women. I don't know what it is.
With women,
dudes wouldn't give a shit, right? Like,
they don't.
I can't say that. That's not fair.
Well,
but most dudes, like the shit that we worry about, they were like, "Oh, I didn't even think about that." They would
exactly.
And it's obligation, and there's a whole bunch of words that, frankly, I feel are kind of nasty. Guilt, obligation, should. Should is a big one. My sister likes to say replace should with shit. So you're shooting all over yourself.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so true.
It is.
It's pretty crazy. There's something I would love to explore that more, which I probably will, and have somebody that's on the show that talks about it too, because like I would love to get rid of the chronic guilt.
Ditch your fucking guilt. Ditch your fucking guilt. And isn't it, chronic is just the most beautiful word for that. It's the most hideous and beautiful word because it's different than constant. Right?
Exactly.
Constant guilt. Yeah, it's constant guilt, but chronic is like a step further.
Yep.
It's like a disease, It's, yeah.
Well, it's correctly one thing. Do you like Brene Brown?
Uh-huh.
I'm a big Brene Brown fan, and she's got her new book out, The Atlas of the Heart, and she has a series on HBO Max that I've been watching. I'm not done with it yet. But what I love about the series on HBO Max is she's helping people understand the true meaning of words, of feelings, of emotions.
Yes.
And when you know what a word means, truly, it allows you to communicate how you feel more clearly and for people to understand how you're feeling so they can support you in exactly how you're feeling. And so this gives me that, it makes me think about that, because chronic guilt is chronic, and constant or consistent are very different words.
They're so similar, but so
it's different.
Oh,
yeah.
I have the other monitor up. I'm like, I really want to just like Google chronic versus constant right now. But it's just such an amazing thing, because it's chronic, and it's I mean, this word used to be way more powerful, but it's a pandemic, like that among entrepreneurs, specifically female entrepreneurs, like I said, how do you ditch the fucking guilt, right? And
ditch the fucking guilt.
Fucking guilt. That should be our second t-shirt. Beyond, don't even worry about it. Ditch the fucking guilt.
I love it. Okay, so I'm doing it right now just for our listeners here. Chronic is of an illness persisting for a long time or consistently reoccurring. Constantly reoccurring. Of a person having an illness persisting for a long time or constantly reoccurring. And then we have consistent, acting or done in the same way over time, especially so as to be fair or accurate, unchanging in nature, standard, or effective over time. So
consistent almost has a positive spin to it, right?
Yes, exactly.
Consistent. I have this constant guilt, whereas chronic is like the word disease was actually used in there.
Disease, and it's persistent, and it's a long time too.
Persistent is like a rash or something. Like, what is it? There's a word for like I can't remember the word, but like a chronic. a chronic illness.
It's a chronic illness.
It
Exactly.
is. Guilt is a chronic illness. There.
Yeah.
Doctors Crystal and Janel have now done.
If you would like to learn more about our practice that we're starting here soon.
What you do is you pour yourself another drink and then join us. Crystal Uncorked. Next diagnosis.
I love it. Yep, exactly. Here we go. Look at us just solving all the problems.
All of the world's problems. All of it. So, one of the things with the guilt is, for me, with the chronic guilt, is really embracing those boundaries. And I don't know of anyone that can embrace all of these boundaries all at once, but take baby steps. Yeah. You know, like I said, like the out of office. Oh my God. The most fucking liberating thing in the world is an out of office where people will send you an email and it's like, haha, you got my out of office. And it's like, oh, this, giant invoice that seemed like such a huge deal and a crisis. Turns out you got my out of office and you know that I'm not fucking replying to this until Tuesday. But guess what? I got home Monday and I'm going to read it Monday, but I'm not going to do anything about it until Tuesday. Right?
Right.
So, boundaries, little bit by little bit by little bit. That's it.
Totally. And I have to say, I did this sort of, it was, I want to call it an experiment. It wasn't an experiment in the moment, but looking back, I feel like it was an experiment.
This is exciting.
Where I had like in October, November, December, I put out of office and I said, I only check this email account once a week, every Tuesday. So if you need something more, if you need something sooner, if this is urgent, please contact my team at hello@crystalmediaco.com.
I have another hot tip. Let's talk about Teams in a moment.
Okay. So we'll circle back to Teams. So here's what happened. I still checked my email every day, but I didn't feel like I had to.
Yeah.
Because I had a message that told people. And if I responded sooner, they were like kind of pleasantly surprised. Here's the other thing you do is then you do the send later for the Tuesday. So
honestly, you're setting the expectation. I'll get back to you on Tuesday. But if it's Thursday, the prior Thursday, your integrity is down the drain. Because you have, it is under promise and over deliver, but still your integrity is down the drain. Don't reply on Tuesday.
Exactly. So that is an excellent point because in certain ways I was like pleasantly surprising people. And then they were like, oh, thank you so much. And I'll stop bothering you. Like I'll make sure I email on Tuesdays. Yeah. But to really maintain that, it needed to be the send later, go on Tuesday. But what it did for me mentally was amazing because I didn't feel so attached to my inbox, even though I probably checked it the same amount.
Absolutely.
But I didn't have the it's crazy.
It's a mindset thing. I just thought of another thing that I do with respect to boundaries. I figured out that like when I'm getting serious when I'm like, here's the thing, Crystal. With my clients, I give a lot, and I'm very empathetic. So I give a lot of energy and I am drained. Like 5 client meetings in a day, that's too many for me. It's too many. Because guess what? Obviously I am personally exhausted by the end of that, but my clients the next day are going to get terrible meetings. So I don't do 5. 4 is a big day for me. A lot of my colleagues, they'll do way, way more than that. And that's fine. That's the right fit for them, right? Cool. But for my clients, I realize that I block off roughly 90 minutes. We have our meetings for an hour, and then it takes me about 30 minutes to do all of the follow-up because there's a lot of follow-up and research that goes into it. And it's like, Janel, sometimes guess what? A girl's got to pee, or have a snack, right? And it's like, you can't do that during the meeting. So, having that 90-minute buffer. And so what I do is I have a calendar. The one that I use is You Can Book Me. It's free. Unless you want, advanced features, of course, you can do the free version, but I block off 90-minute meeting time. So if one of my clients, if my clients want to schedule a meeting, it's like, awesome, here's the link. And the other thing is the ones that are like more demanding and I shouldn't say more demanding, but for lack of better terminology, they have more urgency. They feel more urgency with what they're, needing to chat about. They see, oh, she doesn't have time or she doesn't have availability on her schedule. And does that piss some people off? Yeah, it does. For sure it does. Am I going to make exceptions outside of that? Yeah, I sometimes am. Absolutely, right? But the other thing is I don't book meetings on Monday mornings typically or Friday afternoons. Because guess what? Sometimes I'm out of town.
Right.
Sometimes I don't want to, you know? Right. So I generally have about 4 meeting blocks per day. And, like I will book more than that, like I said. But that's one thing. That's a great boundary tool. And talking about the team. Oh, I have had the most unbelievable staff member since about 2011. She is constantly there. She is never late. She uses her own social media profiles to do, like, always answering with the store's emails and everything. She has been unbelievable. She's shared her own Facebook profile with the team. You, in fact, have had her credentials with Crystal Media. Do you know who I'm talking about?
My team would.
Yeah, they would. I'm talking about Anna, who is a completely fake person, who is our customer service person. She is our accounting person. She is our firewall. And Anna it's ironic because we actually did have an Anna that worked for us for a while. So
how funny.
That got complicated. That got awkward.
Weird.
But having that, honestly, that fake person was such a filter for me, and just having that, because here's sometimes as a business owner, like, I'm a people pleaser. I want everyone to be happy always. So it's hard for me to say no sometimes. But when Anna says no, it's not me, it's fine. Unfortunately, that's not something we're able to do right now, or, whatever. Having an Anna from accounting, or, Anna in customer service. Ooh, shoot. Unfortunately, we can't do that. But here's another option for you, right?
Yeah.
I can't believe I've spilled the beans on Anna. I need to really fully wrap up everything with my e-com store before Anna's. But how would they know if it was, like I said, I actually had an Anna that worked for me. Maybe Anna's come back.
Right. Exactly. Well, you never know. But here's the deal. You just gave such a great tip to business owners, which is pretty much who is listening to this. Mm-hmm. I mean, because I think there's value in that too. There's, like, for me, of Crystal answering emails and answering customer service or things like that. I don't now. My team is on top of it. But in those stages where
your team is
my team is amazing. Yeah.
Freaking unbelievable, dude. Yeah.
But when you're in that period where you don't yet have the team to do it,
pretend you do,
create that fake person that it makes your business look a little bit bigger. There's different departments. There's almost like a psychological thing that happens with the customer.
Yeah. Absolutely there is. Because if you sign off, and I know you're Crystal Media, obviously, but like if you personally sign off as Crystal, like, number 1, whoa, I just got Crystal. Number 2, ooh, I now have Crystal's contact information. Number 3, oh, is it just Crystal at this business?
Right.
Maybe it's not as big as I thought.
Right.
Make up a whole department, guys. It can't just be like, it doesn't need to just be Anna.
Exactly.
Like, a lot of names. Like, if you're uncertain about who should be in this department, just Google baby names 2022. Like, I'm sure, like, all this would be really funny now to come up with baby names, but I'm sure that Oliver and wasn't it like Olivia and Jacob or something were the top baby names?
I have no idea.
Years. I don't know either. Anyway. Make up a bunch of names. Create a department.
Make it up. Have a fake employee. I love that advice so much.
What a silly thing. I'm like, just lie to everyone. Was basically the advice I just told you.
My number 1 tip for businesses.
Lie to everyone.
Lie.
Exactly. Yeah. But the thing is, though, you're still giving the information.
Yes.
It's just that you're signing off from a different name. And I think that that's something that helps with boundaries too.
It does. Well, and that goes right back to that question of recharge. Okay, so Janel, what does the future look like for your business?
Oh, man. My future is like, I'm so friggin' excited about it. I'm so excited about it. I just want to continue to help retailers to work more, like I said, more efficiently in their businesses. I just want to, we didn't even talk about this. I want to learn a few more languages. I'm currently working on Spanish and German, Espanol. And I haven't learned the word for German yet in German. I don't know. Deutsch, maybe? I don't know. Literally, special shout out to Duolingo.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. And so it'd be cool to have, additional clients in different locations throughout the world. I want to
awesome.
expand to different verticals. You know, I just want to keep helping people. I just want to help people really embrace the, don't even worry about it.
Yeah. You have so much to give, and you help so many people. You help this show be here today, which is amazing.
Can't even, Crystal. I just can't even believe it. It's just, honestly, well, and you know what, like, thank you for mentioning that. But it's like, and if anyone is ever like, I don't know, if you think something, that if you have the tiniest little 1/10000000% of belief in something, and even if you don't, just tell someone you do. Yeah. And that's not the case with you. That is not the case with you. I fully, 1,000,000,000% believed in you. Yeah. And still do, obviously.
Right. Which I love.
Thank you.
I have to share a story.
Please do. This is going to be fun for me.
It's a funny story before we sign off here.
Oh, I love fun. Yes.
You know this story. So it's like seriously one of the funniest stories, I think.
I can't wait.
When I met Janel when we were together in Tucson in September of 2019. We would be like together. We would see each other at lunch. We, like you're at this event and you're like seeing each other in and out. Well, I applied. This is so funny. I applied to be on the Ellen show. Now, like Ellen DeGeneres, and I love the Ellen show. I watched the very first episode when she launched. I have this desire to have my own talk show, and I've applied to be on her show like a ton. I've like written letters and I've tried to like do stuff for my mom and all sorts of stuff. So a few weeks prior to going to this conference that Janel is also at in Arizona, I applied again. And all of a sudden, I'm at the fucking conference and I get an email that I get to go. Yeah. We want you to be a audience member. And I like get up and I go to the corner. What's that?
Were you taking your grandma or something to this conference?
Well, I put a picture. The picture I used was of me and my grandma. But my grandma's in Colorado. I was in California. And so it was me, Dustin, and our friend Hope that went. But I used my grandma. I used the picture of my grandma.
You know what? That's another great business tip. Use grandma as needed.
Exactly. I think she was probably happy to help make her granddaughter's dreams come true. And so I get this email and I like walk over to the corner of the ballroom and Janel is like walking by and I'm like, oh my God, I'm like about to just like burst into tears and I'm like shaking. I'm so excited. I'm like, Janel, I have to tell somebody. Yeah. I get to go to the Ellen show. Or I was like, I get to go to Ellen.
Yeah, you said I get to go to Ellen.
Yeah.
And you were so excited that I was just so excited for you. I'm like, yes!
Yeah.
She knew. She knew. Up and down and hugging. Yeah. I was so excited for you. And I
much love.
But at the time, where did you live?
I lived in San Diego.
You lived in San Diego. And I actually thought, oh, interesting. But she's so happy. So I am so happy for her.
Janel straight up was like, you're going to LA? Yeah. Okay, she's excited. She's going to LA. LA, not Ellen. LA. And she's jumping with me. She's hugging me. This girl gets to go to LA.
What?
Yep.
LA.
And then like somehow we kind of, you're like, oh, you've never been before? And I'm like, no.
Like there were several breaks and a number of conversations where I'm like, guess where Crystal gets to go? Next lunch break, I'm like, guys, let's celebrate. Crystal's going to LA, and I'm pretty sure I said it really strangely every time. So everyone around was like, amazing. And they probably had the information. Yeah.
Yeah. And then at one point you're like, well, so you've never been before? And I'm like, I've never been to her show. And you're like, what do you mean her show? And I'm like, the Ellen show.
And I was like, oh, Ellen. Crystal, I thought you were going to LA. Yeah. I was so excited.
But like, if that doesn't sum up who Janel is, who you are, of like, I will jump with you. I will tell people. I will celebrate.
Celebrate every tiny success if it's going to LA when you live in San Diego. Is San Diego like a suburb of LA?
Well, they're like 2.5 hours apart.
Okay. So most
Yeah.
people who have been to San Diego would have at some point or lived.
Yeah, it's pretty common that you've been there, and
Right.
it's like not something that I would ever cry about. Like, I'm going to LA.
I get to go to LA. I'm 30 something years old and I get to go to LA.
Did it. I used a picture of my grandma and I. Like, it's just.
And I got there. And I didn't even question it. I'm like, there's so many questions in my mind, but look how excited she is. Let's celebrate. I love it so much. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. That's like one of my favorite stories
I love
ever.
that that's your favorite. I know, it's a good one. It's a good one.
It's a good one. Janelle, tell the people how we're going to link to your website and link to you on the show notes, but tell everybody how they can find you online and get more information.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Well, you just hop on over to the Management One website and you check for retail experts. And I'm the person, ironically, with a sparkly background, not wearing a sparkly dress in that one.
Right on brand.
I believe in sparkles. Okay.
Yes.
That's all there is to it. But my company is called the Authentic Consulting Group. And here's the thing, Crystal, I'm pretty real. That's why I named it that.
Yes.
So yeah, you can just pop on over to the Management One website and you can find you can find me under the retail experts bio there. Failing that, you can email me, Janel at authenticgroup.ca, not .com, because I'm in Canada, not the US of A. And you know what? I think it's a good thing and a thing that you just say my name to anyone involved in Management One and they'll connect you.
Yep.
If they'll know who I am.
They know Janelle.
Sparkles.
The sparkle lady, where's she? I would like to connect her with
where's
her.
the lady with the sparkles?
Yes. Okay, Janelle, it's authenticconsultinggroup.ca, right?
Yep. That's who I am.
Perfect.
That's right.
We'll link to all of it. I thank you so much
Crystal,
for your time.
Thanks
your
for having me on the show. Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Thank you for also that little shout out. That was, it's amazing. It's amazing. You've told me before too that those few little words in between bites of amazing dinner were one of the inspos behind the show, and it's just like it's so heartwarming to me to hear that I was able to, with very little effort, honestly, help you to create this amazing, wonderful, inspirational, platform that's touched so many people. So,
I remember it like it was yesterday. It's such one of those moments for me, and it goes to show you, like, encourage people. Totally. Sometimes they need that little bit where it's not a big thing. Like it wasn't a big brainstorm, just a little bit.
No, it wasn't. It was literally, I'm pretty sure my mouth was full, Yeah, do it, Crystal. Chomp, chomp, chomp.
Duh. Maybe you could film one episode in LA.
I'll be there with you. It'll be amazing.
Yes. LA's all the rage.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
Oh my God.
Crystal, don't even worry about it. Just
don't even worry about it. Yes. Oh my gosh. Janel, thank you so much for being here, for sharing, for opening up. This was so much fun. And it was also a lot of great tips and advice. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute blast and I cannot wait to come back.
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait to have you back. And everybody else, thank you for being here and listening. And I will see you on the next See You. Bye, everybody. All right, let's keep this conversation going. Join me on Instagram. I'm at Crystal Uncorked. And I need to tell you, thank you so much for listening to this show. It truly means the world to me. If you're enjoying Crystal Uncorked, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Okay, I'll see you on the next See You. Cheers, friend.